Morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to another session of Flat Earth School. The school that is around us 24/7 since the beginning of existence. I'm Mitchell from Australia, and today I'm coming to you from a reasonably quiet waterfall. Thought it might be a nice backdrop today. Not really flowing, we haven't had that much rain lately. When it is flowing, this entire basin here is just absolutely pumping. But today we're just going to have to enjoy the nice steady flow of water. Hey, Michael Carnan's chat, how are you, mate? Already got a bit of a chat going on. No, the plain truth, Travis, this will not be a dating stream, sorry. Got it wrong again. Jess Palmer says in case she doesn't see me later. Good morning, good evening, good night. Plato Platt says, I should try to explain how flat Earth works. And Arwen says, it's flat. That's how it works. I love that response, Arwen. I was counting on some anti-flat earthers to be in the chat today to just ask some questions like that. Isn't it wonderful how, if you're a globe believer, you think that you've got everything on your side, everything sorted out, everything's explained, and it's up to us, flat earthers, who go against that notion of everything being explained on a globe. Apparently it's up to us. We have the burden of proof to explain everything. You guys are sorely mistaken. The burden of proof lies solely on the person who makes the claim. There are so many things in flat Earth that we do not have a claim for, that we do not know how it exists. We don't know how it works. We don't know causes for it. But what we do know, absolutely, unequivocally, has been recently proven, overtly proven, but proven for the last few hundred, maybe few thousand years through celestial navigation. Our Earth has been proven to be flat. It's been measured as flat. It's been navigated as flat. And so now we can firmly and comfortably be in the box seat of having proven what our world is. Something that the globe has never done. It has never proven the world around it to be curved, to be a globe, to be spherical, to be in space, to not be contained, to have a downward force. No, none of these things have been proven. And it's through having a bit of critical thought, questioning the status quo, because that's what the globe is. The globe is definitely not correct, but it is the mainstream narrative. It is the accepted Western world philosophy of where we live. That's all it is, just a philosophy. No proof for it at all. It's just the word of man. It's just believe what I say or you're going to be ridiculed. Every globe argument starts with the sentence, because we live on a globe, or because we know it's a globe, it always starts with begging the question. It always starts with the assumption that we are first living on a globe. Now, a real researcher, a real investigator, doesn't start with assumptions. We don't need assumptions. We don't need to assert where we live in the first instance. We look around us, we use reality, and we go from there. We use real observations. We don't have a presupposition in our mind. Although now, after absolutely proving that the world is flat, measuring it flat, navigating it flat, observing it flat, we can definitely presuppose that we're on a flat Earth because it has been proven, it has been measured, it has been navigated as flat forever. I'll go into this a bit later. Today I'm going to go into the Australian black swan. If you guys weren't with me yesterday, I touched on something, an observation that I made at the beach. For me, it was the first time in person that I had ever seen this sort of observation, being a black swan. It was pretty exciting for me, because up until that point I had to rely on other people's footage, trust other people, and I definitely do trust BMLS69. Go over to his channel, BMLS69. He gave us the very first black swan. Well, that's what we referred it to anyway. There's definitely been other black swans in the past, but no one has referred to it as a black swan before the footage of BMLS69. And that was Quantum Eraser. He did make up that argument. He did put it in the form that we know it today, in the modus tollens form. He put it in the analogy that we know it today. Yes, R1, the black swan is here to stay forever and ever and ever. And people keep coming out with more and more black swans. And I'm going to present mine here again today. For those of you who didn't see it yesterday, I'll put it in a nice presentation form today. I haven't released it on my channel yet, officially. Stayed up pretty late last night or this morning, trying to polish it a little bit. Not much sleep today. But that's just the life of a researcher. Someone who goes out to investigate the nature of their world. They find something, like I have done. They get excited and they don't want to put it down. They don't want to go to sleep. They want to keep polishing it, keep refining it, in the hope that the presentation to others will be as beneficial as when they first observed it. Plateau Platt says, Johnny, the flat earth does not work fine when you look better. That is the big problem. Oh yeah? We don't have problems here on flat earth. If we don't know something, we just say, I wouldn't have a clue. But on the globe side, you guys have to make up a story, a just so story, a story from men, a story without proof, a story without logic. We don't do that. We just go, how the hell does that moon work? Who knows? All we know is it does. It's a cycle. It just keeps going. We know it works. And it works on a flat earth because we've measured a flat earth. We navigate on a flat earth. That's how it works on a flat earth, because it does, because we're observing it. It's as simple as that. But the globe believers have to go, oh no, we've got an explanation for how the moon works. It's mass attracting mass. It's Newton. And now superseded by Einstein's theory of general relativity, bendy space-time. That's the effect. Somehow we're seeing bendy space-time, but it goes into imagination land from that point. They can't prove anything. Plato Platt says, look at the stars, how they rotate around a fixed point exactly in the south during the complete night. When you are on the southern hemisphere, it is impossible on our flat earth. Oh yeah? Well, seeing as Plato Platt, we have proven, we have measured, we have navigated on this flat earth that we live. We know it's flat. We have done the measurements. We've done the physical proof. Yeah? Is it impossible on our flat earth? Nah. We just look up, we see the stars rotating, yeah. Why do they rotate around the fixed point? That's not on us. We don't make a claim why they rotate, but you guys sure do. On the globe side, you guys have an explanation for everything, and that's why it is so easy to pick apart your model. Because your explanation does not line up with reality. You give us the explanation of stars rotating around a fixed point, because it's not actually the stars rotating, is it? You can't believe your eyes. Like many other instances, if you believe you live on a globe, you cannot believe your eyes, you cannot believe reality. You have to look at those stars and you have to say to yourself, it's not actually the stars rotating, it's me rotating, my feet here rotating on this spherical earth, because it's the earth spinning, not the stars. That's the explanation from the globe side. And rather than giving us proof, because there would be proof of, other than what we see in the sky, the things rotating in the sky, there would be proof if we lived on a rotating earth here, things leaving the surface of that rotating earth, going into the inertial reference frame, they would appear to drift from us still planted here on the presupposed rotating earth. They would move. Do we see things move? No, we definitely don't see things move. Dusty Rider, how are you, mate? Michael Khan, hey. 2 of my patrons, thanks for being here. Michael Khan says, Plato off with your head, go elsewhere, troll. Edwin Decker says, hi from the very flat Netherlands. Hi from the very flat Australia. Johnny Z, better not know what the moon is than come with unverifiable, untestable, unfalsifiable pseudoscience speculations. Just narratives of scientism, religion. Yep, Johnny Z got it in a T. That's what it is. Better not knowing what something is than to open your mouth and be an absolute fool for not being able to verify what your story is. It's just like a drunken man in a pub, you know? Comes in with a absolute bullshit story, but because his voice is louder, because he's got big muscles, because he'll smash you in the face if you go, no, that's not right. Because he's got all his mates around him say, yeah, we agreeing with him, yeah. People don't want to go against the narrative of the globe. But the thing is, we, on this side of the flat earth side, we have all the evidence. We have all the proof. Edwin Decker says, Plato, the globe is dead. Deal with it, kid. Yeah. Arwen says, the entire point of the black swan observation is that you see too far at too low an observation height for the globe geometry to allow. Yeah, that's what I'm going to go through today. I'm going to go through my personal black swan observation. I have proven to myself that the geometry of this world that we live in, if you think it's a sphere, it is not possible. Michael Khan says Plato's in timeout. We'll let him back in, because I want to. He's going to ask us some more questions. He's going to ask us to explain things on our flat Earth, and I want to respond to that. So let him back in when he's done his timeout, Michael. Yeah, he's a zealot. So a religious extremist. That's what a zealot is. And don't be fooled. The globe is a religion. It is the one world religion that we've all been looking out for. If you're conspiratorial minded, you'd know a bit about the New World Order. You'd know a bit about the powers that be, the secret societies wanting a one world religion. And here's all the conspiratorial minded people waiting around for all other religions to be abolished, waiting for this one world religion to be in. All the time unsuspecting that around them, the paradigm that they live in, the religion, the one world religion is pushed to them daily, hourly, minute by minute, through the media, through the pseudoscientists. It is the globe. It is the one world religion. It's just all about what we expect a one world religion to look like. We expect that the religions that we know and understand, the religions that are overtly in our faces, we expect one of them to come forward and be the dominant religion. No, we are sadly mistaken. The one world religion has been pushed on us maybe for a good century now in the mainstream. Before that, I don't think the globe was around. The globe religion, I don't think it's been around for too long. It's just because the media is so in our faces these days, it is hard to get away from it. Yeah, you can definitely take yourself out of society, but if you want to be part of society, you're going to see the globe religion, the one world religion everywhere. And it is unquestioned in most scenarios. Except for if you're in conversations like this, in the flat earth conversation, where we highlight, where we open people's eyes to the deception that the one world religion is the globe. It requires religious belief. It has zealots, which is religious extremists. It has high priests. These high priests tell us things that cannot be verified, that you just have to take their word on. I want to put it in a bit of perspective for everyone. Imagine if the Catholic priests, the higher Catholic priests, and the Pope said, we have been to heaven. Yeah, because that's what NASA are detailing, the people at NASA. That's what they're detailing, that the heavens above us. A place that normal people can't go to. Imagine high priests telling their Catholic followers that they have been to heaven. Normal people can't go to heaven. No, there's only been a select handful throughout history. We've got names of people here, we'll put them on camera. These are the first people that have been to heaven. They can tell us all about heaven. And you're going to have to take their word on it. And we continue to go to heaven. We know how far heaven is. We're exploring heaven more and more. You need to give us all your money, a lot of tax dollars going towards heaven, because it's somewhere where everyone wants to know about. Can we go to heaven, say the followers? Oh, yeah. We'll let you go to heaven. We'll do a heaven tourism. Space tourism, heaven tourism. You guys can go to the edge of heaven. You won't quite be able to experience heaven like our priests have. Going deep into heaven. Touching heaven, feeling heaven, being around, walking around in heaven. No. You'll just go to the edge of heaven. And that'll prove to you that heaven exists. It's right there. And we'll go on exploring deep heaven. We'll send our people, our select handful of people. You have to be a professional. You have to train your whole life for this opportunity to go to heaven. Imagine that. I'm just running a parallel of actual priests that we know of. They call themselves priests. Imagine if that happened, if they told their followers they have been to heaven and back. And you just have to accept their story. Yeah, Johnny Cool, you get it. Is Richard Branson taking us to heaven? That's the analogy. Yeah, the heaven vacation. Heaven tourism. That's what NASA's pushing. That's what Richard Branson's pushing. To go to the edge of heaven. Yeah? Imagine if you're a religious person, I'm not knocking actual proper religious people, that's fine, you can have faith. Imagine if your priests are telling you something that you can definitely not verify, that you need to take their word on, that they've been somewhere and they continue to go somewhere, but you can't go there. You just have to take their word on it. You have to have faith. That's just what the globe religion's doing. All right. Yeah, Aaron says people put their money where their faith is. Unfortunately, this mechanism is the standard approach for exploitation. Yep. Unfortunately, that's just the world that we live in. All right. I might shout out my awesome patrons. I didn't shout you guys out yesterday. Good to see you back, Michael Kahn. Hope you have had a good vacation. All right, so Thank you to all my lovely patrons. You guys are making it so much easier for me to do this day after day. Come to beautiful locations like this waterfall. So, my patrons, Alec One Show, Michael Kahn is in the chat, Malcolm Foster, Angie S, Dawn Judds, Paul on the Plane, Will Brax, Ronald Jurek, BMLSB 69, John Swartz, Brian Leakey, where's the other part of that? I know Chris is one of them. I've got the wrong list here. Dusty Ryder, he's definitely one of them. Tristan Trickers, I think that is the list. Thank you guys so much. I apologise if you are one of my patrons. I've got possibly the wrong list here. But you guys are awesome. Thank you, patrons. If you want to become a patron, if you like my work, please do what these awesome patrons have done. Sign up to be a patron. You'll see the Friday live shows, which will be tomorrow. You'll see them live. That's the only way you'll catch them live. I will eventually put them out on my channel because it's information from these, I want to call them subject matter experts. It is information from these guys that really go deep into where we live, how our world around us works. That's why I get them on. Tomorrow, hopefully, I'll get Anthony Riley in to talk about relative density disequilibrium, what it is, why it has been proven by science, why it opposes gravity, that downward force that we say that globe believers, the one world religion says is there. And that one world religion would say that gravity is causing that waterfall right there, that waterfall right here, the stream here to go down. And this water here at rest, this water here going nowhere, that's also got a force applied on it. You just can't see it yet. No, it's all about relative density disequilibrium. As far as I can tell, it has been scientifically proven by Anthony Riley, and that's why I want to get him in tomorrow to talk about relative density disequilibrium. His egg test is a falsifiable test. It has been put through the scientific method. It is all about the medium that an object is in. I'll just touch on that for a second. So we see that water there. Water can be a medium, but it's also surrounded by the medium of air. We have so many different mediums in our world. So that water is a different density to the medium of air. Water naturally, that just naturally wants to go to equilibrium. It wants to find a level. That's why it's called water level. Everything in our world that is in disequilibrium seeks to find equilibrium. And if we were not standing here at this waterfall today, we would see nothing in our world going down. It is actually pretty rare that we see things going down towards the ground. Like I said, if I was not at this waterfall, we would not see things going down. I just wanted to come to something overtly obvious, that something is going down towards the ground, but it's not because there is a downward force. And that's what we're going to go through tomorrow with Anthony Riley. We're going to unequivocally prove that there is no downward force. Downward forces are not needed. There's forces in all directions. If we do have a good look around us in our world, especially early mornings, we see fog, we see water vapor, we breathe that mist from our breath in cold mornings. They're not things going down. When you really think about it, when you look around in the world around you, in reality, we see more things going up sideways in all directions than we do just going down. There is no just downward bias. So downward bias, you would need all things going down. We do not see that for gas. That would violate gas law. So many natural gas laws. Johnny Z says we live in a density gradient and the equilibrium level of water and earth is much lower than the sea. So things in that medium of water react differently to when they're in the medium of air. So a leaf, for example, a leaf would seek equilibrium when it falls off a tree. Anything that seeks equilibrium has first been put into disequilibrium. It has been forced into disequilibrium, out of equilibrium. When something is at equilibrium, like those rocks there, like those trees, they're in equilibrium at the moment. They're not moving, they're not going down, they're not going up, they're not going anywhere. But the leaves on the trees there, the branches, the actual tree itself, if it becomes detached from whatever is holding it right there, it becomes in a state of disequilibrium. It has grown up, it has risen up, it's been forced up by natural processes, just by the tree growing. When it detaches from that solid structure, it will want to seek equilibrium from whence it came. Where did everything grow from on this earth? From down. Yeah, from the ground level. Where does gas get produced? From the ground level. Everything that we see here on earth starts from ground level and usually works its way up. Everything, depending where ground level is, I can't put a blanket statement on that, but ground level is just where we live. We don't live in the sky. We don't really live underground. We have to force our way underground. We have to force our way into the sky, into disequilibrium. We have to force our way under the water. And just naturally, we're going to want to go back to equilibrium. Yeah, it's all by design, says Arwen. It is by design. These things, where we see things in disequilibrium seeking its equilibrium. Some people see this observation of things seeking equilibrium and they want to explain it. They want to put a cause of why entropy happens, a cause of why gas wants to go from high pressure to low pressure. That is just a natural effect. That's entropy. It's change over time. Why water goes down and not up, not sideways. People want to put a cause to that. Relative density disequilibrium is a good explanation, and we can definitely manipulate things to cause and effects that we see. But when it comes down to it, why the water is appearing to choose to go down is because the water is still in disequilibrium. Where's the water coming from? It's the water cycle. So the sun is the biggest entropy generator we have ever known. The sun pumps energy into our world like nothing else. So the sun heats up all this water right here, the water that appears to be in equilibrium. It's not moving, it's not going down anymore. It's kind of going a bit sideways because it's getting more and more volume. Yeah, that's different to going down. Just it's actually this pond here. This pond here isn't getting filled up by strips of vertical volume. No, it hasn't got columns of volume filling up just one place. No, it's got a vertical expansion here. The water is entering here. The water could enter from the sky and fall down like as in rain. And what happens? It expands vertically outwards. It's not just going down, it's going out. And then when the sun excites the water that appears in its equilibrium, it goes back up. Water vapor, gas goes back up, is produced down there at that level, at that water level, sometimes at ground level. Have you ever seen a puddle be present one day and then it's not the next? That's That's entropy when it boils down to it. That is heat exciting the molecules of that water, turning it into a gas, and it goes back up. That's just how our world works. Andrew Calvert, thanks for the sub. Awesome, I'm almost at 5,000. I think I'm like 2 or 3 people off 5,000 subscribers, so please share the show. Ask people to subscribe. Share it with your friends and family. Arwen, congratulations on 1,000 shows. Wow, good work, Arwen. Awesome. How long have you been doing this for, Arwen? 1,000 shows. Far out. I'm on 13, show number 13. Nice work, Arwen. Great show. Everyone subscribe to Arwen. He's in the chat here. The Flat Earth Early Bird Show. Every day, Flat Earth Early Bird Show. Alright, so I just touched on relative density disequilibrium and why we definitely don't have a downward vector. So the relative density of that water, the density of that water is different relative to the density of air. So the water is denser and it just wants to find its equilibrium, which is, in this case, it's down. But when the water gets excited, it gets put into disequilibrium by the sun, by heat, it goes back up, goes into a state of disequilibrium. It's the water cycle. Evaporation goes up, accelerates up, because it has to start as down. It definitely accelerates up. We sometimes get told that things don't accelerate up. No, they definitely do. Water has to start at this level here, right here. Water starts here, it evaporates, starts at this level here, goes up. That's just what happens to the water. It's a water cycle. It condenses in the air, phase change again, it gets more dense than the air around it, and it comes back down. It seeks equilibrium. It falls on mountains, it falls on higher things, it causes these streams. It's a good homeschool lesson. It's a really good homeschool lesson just to teach your kids the water cycle. Go out one rainy day, go up like a mountain that you know is a stream. You can see where the water gets collected from the mountains, turns into streams, goes into rivers, goes into lakes and ponds, dams sometimes. Dams are a massive state of disequilibrium. They just want to burst. That it takes so much force to keep that water from finding equilibrium and just gushing out. Comes back down, goes into streams, rivers, goes out to the ocean, and it's just a water cycle. It just goes round and round. Like everything, there's gas cycles, water cycles. We have a dynamic world around us. That's just how our world works. And it definitely is on a flat Earth. We don't need gravity. We don't need space. Space, a vacuum. It is such an unnatural thing. It is a man-made thing, not only by concept in your mind, but physically. A vacuum is a man-made thing. The cause of a vacuum is man. In nature, through its natural processes, abhors a vacuum. You will never find a vacuum in nature. Gas pressure from high pressure to low pressure wants to flow to low pressure. That's just entropy. Something that happens always and never not happens. It's a natural law. All right. I think we've talked enough about that subject. We're going to get really into it tomorrow with Anthony Riley. If you want to see it live, if you want to ask us questions, if you want to be in the live chat, become a patron. You'll see it live. Me and Anthony Riley tomorrow, talking about relative density to equilibrium. Alright, so I want to go into what I have dubbed as the Australian Black Swan. For those of you who weren't around yesterday, this is the Australian Black Swan. And it hasn't got any narration yet. That's why I haven't put it out on my channel. So this is a beach, one of my local beaches. My feet are standing in the water. The camera, the P900, I wish I had my P1000, but we're just having a nice friendly day at the beach, family day at the beach. Got my camera out. Just wanted to look at this point here, point perpendicular. Observation height is 5.5 feet. My feet are in the water, camera at my eye level. And I begin to zoom in. And I see rocks at the bottom of point perpendicular, something that from my observer point is not usually observed. So we've got the lighthouse here, point perpendicular, and these rocks, they're just a demarcation point. Okay, this argument, like the Black Swan argument, doesn't rely on the cranes in the other Black Swan image. Just a demarcation point. I'll zoom in a little bit. Yeah, screen share zoom in. Which side have I got it on? I have got an enhanced image of this. I'll show you guys later, but this is just point perpendicular, zooming in from 5.5 foot observer height. Not sure if you guys can see it in this image, but the horizon line, that line there, is above the level of the rocks. Okay? I'm going to enhance it soon. I'm going to go into it in a bit more detail. They're just demarcation rocks. So this is where I'm observing it from. Observer location right here. And I measure it on near maps. Near maps is awesome. Out to point perpendicular. These rocks out here. And it is a distance to the rocks of 7.8 miles from that beach. Alright, so we've got a 5.5 foot observer height. Distance to rocks, 7.8 miles. And I'm just showing here that little green marker there is just showing that there's the max elevation possible is 5.7 meters. That's just what this uses the Google Maps data in near maps. I was just showing there that the elevation there behind me in the observation, you can only get to 5.7 meters. That'll come into play a bit later. Alright, so let's go back to the actual observation. 5.5 foot observer height, 7.8 mile distance to those rocks. And then I zoom in a bit more and enhance it, just to see what we can see. Alright, so I pause it there. So we've got a bit of a mirroring line here. I'll just go back to that mirroring line. Went a bit fast. I want to break this down a bit. So that line there, you can see the bottom of the boat being mirrored. That's not the horizon. No, that's just a bit of flat, reflective water. That's just reflecting that image. Not refraction, not a mirage, it's just mirroring, reflecting. And then, past that, we've got the bottom of the rocks, 7.8 miles from my observer height. And you can already see the horizon is well above those rocks. That's where the horizon is. So the white line is just a mirroring line. The green line, that is the rocks, that is the demarcation point, 7.8 miles. And the horizon, I wouldn't have a clue how far the horizon is. It is definitely in excess of 7.8 miles. It is well above that. And as I keep filming, I want to point out that there's a boat emerges from behind those rocks. It's a bit hard to see on the iPad, but watch this. A boat emerges. It's much better in HD. I'm going to put it on my video on my channel today. The horizon is beyond 7.8 miles. The boat is traveling on that horizon past 7.8 miles. So this is the Australian Black Swan observation. Now, we see those rocks. We see that on flat Earth. We observe it. And we just say, oh yeah, hey, we got rocks. We don't have to claim anything. We don't have to go into any just so stories. We see this observation, we just go, oh yeah, that's pretty cool. I don't always see those rocks there. But to a globe believer, someone who believes they are on a physical, spherical surface, this observation is an absolute globe killer. I'm sorry to say, you guys are going to be really, really disappointed to see something like this. Because if you believe you're on a globe, and I'll go through the modus tollens argument, because that's where this goes. After seeing this observation, just to prove to the globers that where they're living or where they're not living, you have to put it through, you have to use their geometry. So modus tollens states, okay, if P, then Q. Not Q, therefore not P. Pretty simple. Modus tollens, it's a logical consistency. Logical argument. So, if P, the Earth is a sphere with radius 3959 miles, then Q, every distance to horizon, must be no more than 1.22 times the square root of the observer's height in feet. That's just your geometry if you believe you're in a sphere. If you have a spherical object in front of you, like a ball, a basketball, it has a set limit to what you can see. It blocks things physically, yeah? And that's what we get told the horizon is on a globe. We get told the horizon blocks things from bottom up, that ships disappear bottom up over it. The horizon obscures things as a physical Earth curve, yeah? So, let's continue with the Black Swan argument. So, after putting this through, starting the modus tollens, if P then Q, we see the Australian Black Swan. Okay, we just see it, we view it. From a 5.5 foot observer height, the horizon is beyond 7.8 miles. So let's plug that into the Earth curve maths, the horizon maths. 1.22 times the square root of 5.5 feet. That's the observer height, 5.5 feet. The horizon should be no more than 2.35 miles from a 5.5 foot observer height. That horizon there, well, just start with the rocks. Remember the rocks, 7.8 miles. We should not see the bottom of those rocks, but we're seeing the horizon in excess beyond 7.8 miles. It should only be 2.35 miles. Yeah? So we can conclude with modus tollens. Not Q. The horizon is beyond 7.8 miles from a 5.5 foot observer height. Therefore not P. The Earth is not a sphere with radius 3959 miles. I've just proven to myself, I've done this observation myself. This is my own Black Swan, the Australian Black Swan, which I'm going to release on my channel hopefully today. I've just debunked the radius. We get told by Mr. Sensible. I've got the video here from Mr. Sensible. I think, hopefully. After having the Black Swan argument put to him, this is what he has to say. Oh, hang on. I have to turn it up. I have to share audio.
Radius.
Alright, I'll put it up here.
At best, you would have disproved the radius of the Earth.
Yep. At best, all you would have done is disproved the radius of the Earth.
You would have disproved the radius of the Earth.
Yeah, at best, all we've done with the Black Swan, with my Black Swan, with BMLSB69's Black Swan, all we've done, at best, is disprove the radius of the Earth. So, at the end of my video, if you still believe that you are living on a globe, the new radius of your globe from a 5.5 foot observer height, 7.8 mile horizon, it is in excess of 7.8 miles. That's just being nice. Your new radius is 29,200 miles. Thanks to Adam Meakin, he did the quick maths yesterday live for us. Thanks Adam Meakin, you're awesome. The new radius from a 5.5 foot observer height, 7.8 mile distance to the horizon. And that's been nice because the distance to the horizon is far in excess of 7.8 miles. But just using those two simple measurements, you've now got a radius of 29,200 miles. Is that what we have, Globers? Is that what we see? for your globe. And why? Yeah, Captain Senseless. Yeah, there's not just one black swan. There is so many black swans. I think it was Taboo Conspiracy made that point when he first saw the black swan analogy. He said it's not a black swan. It's an everyday swan, but the analogy is, I wish it was an everyday swan. It is, if every single observation that we made was an observation that we saw a distance to the horizon that was too far if we lived on a globe, that would be an everyday swan. But because we have still white swans, so the analogy is that the Karl Popper analogy of the black swan is this statement that every swan is white can be disproved by just simply one black swan. So it only takes one black swan to disprove the statement that every swan is white. And then that was the notion of the Western world. Before Europeans came to Australia, obviously Aboriginals knew there was black swans, they lived around them, but the Western world notion was that every swan was white until they came to Australia here and they saw that some swans were black. That has now disproved the notion that all swans are white, because it only just needs one black swan to disprove that. And so the analogy for our world around us is that the white swans are that every single horizon that we see is Earth curvature. That's what it needs to be for globe believing zealots. That's what it has to be. There is no other excuse for the horizon other than Earth curvature, a physical Earth curve. That's what we've always been told up until the point of that black swan from BMLS B69 and the modus tollens argument from Quantum Eraser. January 1, 2020 was the absolute death of the globe model through the logical consistency of the black swan from the observation of BMLS69. Go and subscribe to him. Go and subscribe to Quantum Eraser channel on YouTube. Those guys are awesome. So now a black swan image is just one observation. It only takes one observation of the horizon not being physical Earth curvature. You only need one. We have many, yeah. We've got BMLS B69s. We've got my Australian black swan now. There are definitely more black swans. I might try and dig them all up and present them, because it's not just one. We've got multiple black swans, but the notion of the white swan is the horizon being Earth curve, yeah? Every single Earth curve on the globe model needs to be physical. And we can disprove that just with one black swan observation. One observation of the horizon being observed from an observer height that the geometry of the globe, it just cannot work. 1.22 times the observer's height, the square root of the observer's height in feet. That is the maths. Remember that globers tell us that maths proves things. Yeah, that proves these. Their math said geometry dictates that their horizon, the physical Earth curvature, the edge to their sphere, because they absolutely claim an edge. The edge can be no more than 1.22 times the square root of observer's height in feet. For the original black swan, it is the case of a 1 foot observer height, a 10-mile distance to horizon. Absolutely smashes it. From a 1 foot observer height on a globe, you can only have distance to horizon being 1.22 miles. It's easy. 1.22 times the square root of 1 is just 1.22. In my case, I've got a 5.5 foot observer height. Put that through the 1.22 times the square root of 5.5 feet is 2.35 miles, 2.35 miles. The physical Earth curve horizon can be no more than that distance. But I saw the bottom of those rocks out at point perpendicular, and the horizon is above it. That's what makes these black swans observations so good, because yeah, we've got objects, demarcation points The rocks in my case, the oil platforms in BMLSB69's case, they're just demarcation points. They're not the argument. If you want to focus on the rocks, if you want to focus on the oil platforms, if you want to say that's refraction, that is a red herring. The argument is the horizon, far in the distance, past these demarcation points. Because refraction, true refraction, real refraction that PhD Andrew Thomas Young, he's a global believer, but he details what real refraction is. There's 5 effects. You got miraging, stooping, looming, towering, sinking. Was that 5? So mirage, looming, stooping, towering, sinking. That was 5. Those 5 effects all describe refraction as, the definition of them all describes an object moving relative to the horizon. It is never the horizon moving relative to the horizon, because we only have one horizon. If you are saying that the horizon is moving relative to a horizon, you have to then invoke an invisible horizon, and that's what the globe believers do. After seeing these black swans, I'm going to get told that I'm seeing those rocks because of refraction. That's not the argument. I'm seeing the horizon higher and beyond those rocks. Those rocks are just a demarcation point. It might not be a strong argument if those rocks were just at the horizon, because they could claim that the rocks being an object is being loomed up relative to the horizon. That is an object being loomed, is moving relative to the horizon. Maybe they've got that argument, but the horizon isn't at the rocks. It's not at 7.8 miles in my circumstance, in my observation. It is beyond that. There is a little boat that comes from beyond those rocks, and the horizon's beyond that boat. When you actually look at it, when you see the HD version of it, you'll see that the boat is beyond the rocks, but the horizon's beyond the boat. So the horizon is, I'm not even going to put a number on it, but it's definitely, absolutely, unequivocally past 7.8 miles. Absolutely smashes the radius of the Earth. Thank you all for joining me. 38 in the live stream. You guys are awesome. Thank you for being on this flat Earth school journey with me. Thank you for joining me at this waterfall. Hope the waterfall's not too loud. It's a wonderful, calming sound, running water. It's a beautiful waterfall, actually. You can go and sit under that waterfall. You can just climb down and just be there. Just be in reality. I don't like to dwell on the past. I don't like to dwell on the future. That's where anxiety and depression comes from. I like to try and just be in the present. I like to be at these locations. I like to just be here. In reality, not imagination land. Our reality is beautiful, and that's what I'm trying to show everyone through my Flat Earth School sessions. Flat Earth School is around us 24/7 since the beginning of existence. We are all students in this school. I'm a student, you guys are students, we're all learning. It's a journey that we're going through together. That's what Flat Earth School is. It is just reality. I use my reality around me. I use my observations to prove where I am. Physical science. Science is the study of the physical and natural world. That's what science is. Some people would like to tell you that science can occur, things can be put through the scientific method if they're man-made. No, it's a cause and effect relationship. That's what science is. It's a cause and effect relationship. If you're saying that, if you're trying to prove the cause of a man-made thing, like a vacuum, what's the cause of a vacuum? It is man. You don't have to go past that. It's just a method of inquiry. It is empirical. Joseph Meredith says, FE, Flat Earth, is the key to understanding truth. Absolutely. Arwen says, Black Swan is all about geometric consequence of sphere claims. Yeah, we focus on the claims of the sphere. If the sphere has a radius of 3959 miles, it has a physical Earth curved edge, no more than 1.22 times the square root of its side feet. Yeah, that we focus on those claims of the globe. We know the globe model inside out. That's why we're flat earthers. We can pull it apart. We can highlight examples of aspects of the globe. Every single example that we bring up of the globe, we can disprove. We can put it, nothing has been put through the scientific method from the globe. It is not possible to put through any claims of the globe through science. Like philosophy says, but why the sun disappear bottom up? On a globe, what is the claim? That's what Owen's saying. We can put globe claims through scrutiny. So if you've got a cause and effect relationship, the cause to that sun disappearing bottom up or appearing bottom up, the cause on a globe is Earth turn. It is the physical Earth curvature physically blocking the bottom of that sun, isn't it? That is the claim of the globe. So if we have a claim that the horizon is physical Earth curvature, we could just show images of the black swan and we put it through the modus tollens argument. We conclude that there is no physical Earth curvature at those distances that is required, the geometry that is required for a globe of 3959 miles. The horizon has been debunked as physical Earth curvature. It is not physical Earth curvature. So when you say, why does something like the sun disappear bottom up? Why does it get blocked? It is not physical. It is an optical effect. Everything that we see is optical. Also, there's a separate part of that claim. Why does the sun set and rise? On the globe model, the claim is that the Earth is moving, that the Earth is rotating. Yeah, the affirmative claim is with the globe. The burden of proof is on the globe to prove these things. So we get told that the sun rises and sets due to the Earth rotating. Yeah, we have to believe that we're falling backwards or forwards relative to that sun. The sun's not moving, it's the Earth moving. So how do we prove that claim, the cause of that claim? You can't put it through the scientific method. What's the natural phenomenon? Sunset. Yep, that's definitely a natural phenomenon. What's the cause of a sunset? On a globe, it is the Earth moving. How can we manipulate? That's the independent variable. The thing that we need to manipulate to induce the effect of the sun rising or setting. How do we manipulate Earth turning? It is impossible. We cannot put it through the scientific method. Even if the Earth were turning, it is not. Science is not a method of inquiry that the globe can use. It just stops there. It is not scientific evidence. The globe has no scientific proof because science absolutely proves things. We get told now by the globe zealots, by the anti-flat earthers, that science only disproves things. It doesn't prove things. It does both. Through proving something, you are disproving something. Through disproving something, you are proving something. So the hypothesis is where this all comes to fruition. Like, you need to have a dependent variable, you need to have an independent variable, the cause and effect relationship. The hypothesis is where you put the cause and effect relationship together in a statement. Okay, so the cause of sunsets, the observed natural phenomenon, cause and effect. The cause of sunsets is the Earth turning. Okay, so we go to the hypothesis test. So we're testing that hypothesis, but we're not only testing that hypothesis, we have to test the null hypothesis. We have two hypotheses. So to prove the hypothesis, we need to test that hypothesis, which is the Earth turning beneath our feet causes the sunrise and sunsets, yeah? And then the null to it is the opposite. So the sunrise and sunset is not caused by the Earth turning beneath our feet. But in both instances, you need to first prove that the Earth is turning beneath your feet. You can't even test something that you have not proven. First, you need to put through the scientific method, Earth turning before you can assert that it's a cause of things. That's where confusion begins. That's what globe believers, anti-flat earthers rely on, confusion. They rely on people not seeing these claims for what they are. You first need to prove that the Earth is turning. So what's the observed natural phenomenon for Earth turning? Maybe stars? But that's stars turning, not Earth turning. How can we ever see the observed natural phenomenon of Earth turning? I'd like an example of Earth turning. I'd like to see Earth turning. Is it from space? Is it from the second law of thermodynamics violation? That vacuum that we can never go to, that the priests say that they've been to? Yeah, heaven, up there. No, we can never see the Earth turning. You first need to prove the Earth's turning for it to be a cause of something in the first instance. And yeah, also, they have to prove that we're living on a ball, on a sphere. When can we ever observe curvature, let alone an entire sphere? We can never get high enough above our Earth. Normal people cannot get high enough above our Earth to even see the entire sphere. It's never going to happen. Because we're not living on a sphere, you're never going to see curvature. We don't see curvature down here, let alone all the way up there. We don't need to travel to places that we can't travel, because that's just a non sequitur, isn't it? We can't go to space. We're never going to see anything from greater than where we're allowed to travel to. You need to first prove that the Earth's a sphere. Every single globe Earth proof starts with the begging the question, the presupposition that we're already on a globe before it has been proven. There is a massive bounty out for proof of the globe. DITRH has put out a challenge to anyone that can give us proof of the globe, anyone can prove the globe. They get 3 Bitcoin, which is probably like 150,000 US dollars. It's on the table right now. DITRH has put the challenge out to anyone that can prove they live on a globe. To prove the globe exists. Can anyone do that? Can anyone put the globe through scientific method? Because it is the method of inquiry that is empirical. It doesn't matter if you believe it or not. It doesn't require belief, doesn't require faith. It is something that is a cause and effect relationship, something that is provable, falsifiable, testable, is a physical observation, a physical cause and effect relationship. If anyone thinks they can put the globe model through the scientific method, get some empirical proof, $150,000 is on the table for you. Yeah? To date, nobody has proven the globe, because the globe does not exist. We continue. I wish it was the other way around. I wish there was someone putting 3 Bitcoin on the table to prove flat Earth, because we do that every day. In my video, the #1 flat Earth proof, that is a physical measurement. We physically measure the flat Earth. It has to be physically flat to measure angles on a flat Earth with the sextant. We navigate for centuries, possibly millennia. Celestial navigation is only achievable because we live on a flat Earth. We have a flat plane beneath our feet that we're measuring angles to. We're using the geographic points, the GPs of the stars, a 90-degree angle if you're directly above that star. We're using those points. You can only get a 90-degree angle on a flat surface. We're measuring the angle to that star relative to what we're seeing. It is only an apparent angle. It's not a physical angle. We can't extrapolate physical properties of stars or celestial bodies from angular measurement. It is just apparent. That's just how we use celestial navigation. We use the sextant, we get an angle to the star, we have to assume that beneath our feet is a flat plane from our feet to the GP of that star. To make a triangle, to do triangulation, we have 3 straight sides. you can only have a triangle with 3 straight sides. Show me a triangle that doesn't have 3 straight sides. It won't be a triangle. A 90 degrees triangle. One of the angles is 90 degrees, the other 2 angles we can work out with the sextant. They're only apparent. You can't extrapolate a physical property from those apparent sizes, apparent distances, apparent angles. They're all apparent. They're not physical. It's not like we're getting a ruler out and putting it next to a star and saying, yep, that's how big the star is. No, it's all apparent. It's been a great flat earth school here today. I want to thank you all for being here. I'm going to wrap it up now. Thank you for observing my Australian black swan with me. Hopefully I can put it out today on my channel. Please join us tomorrow. If you're a patron, you'll be joining us tomorrow live. Me and Anthony Riley will be going into relative density disequilibrium. It will be RDD versus gravity, because that is the status quo that we're given for things going down. We have the status quo of gravity. It's going to be a great show. If you want to help me out, please become a patron. You'll get the live shows live. You'll be able to ask us questions. You'll see it first live. You'll help me out. I really appreciate it. Send me a super chat. Become a member on YouTube of my channel. Become a patron. Or you can just turn up to these Flat Earth School classes and you can just enjoy the beautiful scenery. You can listen to my arguments. Make up for your own self what the world is around you. I'm trying to help everyone, trying to get everyone to realize that we have a flat earth school around us 24/7 since the beginning of existence. I'm going to wrap it up now. So if you feel like the earth turns on you, turn to Flat Earth School. It is around us 24/7 since the beginning of existence. We are all students on this Flat Earth School. Thank you for joining me here. Hopefully I'll see a lot of you in the live stream tomorrow with Anthony Riley. Only available for members, for patrons. But until next time, until next week, or until tomorrow. Armin says, love my classes. Keep up the good work. I will be, Armin. Thank you. Keep up the comments, everyone. Keep up the support. I love doing this. I want to do this every day for the rest of my life. That'll be awesome. Okay, so until next time, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Have a good day wherever you are on this Flat Earth School. Love you guys. See ya.